Hello, my tarot friends. Today I'm doing a very fun challenge that was started by Sadhana from Integrative Healing with Sadhana, and it is called Tarot Through the Chakras, where you match one deck, or in my case, I'm gonna match a few more decks than one, to each chakra. Now, I really advise you to go and watch Sadhana's original video because she explains the chakra system very, very well. And it will help you to understand which deck in your tarot family or in your tarot collection match to each chakra. I have added 2 extra chakras to this. Sadhana's original video had 7 chakras, and I added the Earth Star chakra to this as well, and also the Soul Star chakra. I'm gonna start from the bottom up, so I'm gonna start with the Earth Star chakra. I'm going to also explain what each chakra represents, but honestly, if you want to learn more and go deeply into this, please watch Sadhana's videos. She actually made 2 videos. One was called Tarot Through the Chakras and one was Decks for 7 Chakras or something like that. I will write it here. So let's just dive in because I have quite a lot of decks to share with you. So the first chakra is the Earth Star chakra. This is the chakra that connects us to the world, the collective consciousness, to the Mother Earth, and it helps us get rid of the negative energy and channel good one from the earth up into our whole energy system. It helps us to stay present in day-to-day life. And I chose 2 tarot decks here, and the first one is the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. I chose this deck for this specific chakra because it really allows me to connect to all beings, not only Mother Earth, but the animals, the plants, the spirits, the bugs, everyone. I feel the message of this deck really comes through, which is that we are all connected, we're all one, and that we should treat everyone with respect, and that however we treat ourselves and Mother Nature, that's gonna come back to us tenfold. It really puts forward that collective consciousness, I feel. Yeah, the next deck that I would put into this category of the Earth Star chakra is the Wheel of Change Tarot. This deck, I feel, is perfect for this chakra because it really is about the messages, if you read a book, are all about that we are all connected, that everything we do affects the Mother Earth, and that we can also gather the energy and from her, from Mother Earth. And it's just so beautiful. I feel it's more grounding than just the root chakra, if that makes sense. It's more intertwined. It's like if you root yourself into the earth, this deck represents how all our roots are connected into one. Does that make any sense? I'm not sure. But this is the deck that makes me feel this way. Whenever I feel like I need to pull that energy, life force from the earth and get rid of my pain, my fears. You know, when you just touch the soil or the grass or the tree and you let go of those negative things inside of you, either being pain or fear or whatever. I feel this deck represents that very, very well, and it gives me that. So whenever I work with it, I feel I could do that without actually going outside in the nature and working with her. I need to take this deck actually outside and meditate in nature and use it. I feel it would be very, very powerful. So yes, these 2 decks are for my Earth Star chakra. The next chakra is the root chakra. So for this chakra, you should choose a deck, or one should choose a deck, Sadhana says, that represents your tribe, home, and or foundation, along with your comfort and struggles that come with that relationship. It is the element of earth. And I chose 2 decks here as well. So the first one is the Great Outdoors. And this is a deck that every time I use it, I feel like I'm at home. You know, I feel like I am grounded. I am where I come from. Even though it represents America's outdoors and I am from Europe, it still hits that spot. I can see myself in these pictures. I've been a person in those pictures, basically. Apart from, well, this one I am now, because I live in a city. Yeah, it always grounds me, and I feel like every time I work with it, I am working not only with, the energies of my home, but also with my family, if that makes sense. The struggles that can come in a relationship with our family members, but also the joys and that feeling of belonging that we get from those relationships. So this is the first deck that creates that feeling inside of me. And the next deck that might represent more the shadowy aspect of this same energy is the Wildwood Tarot. This deck, I feel, hits similar spot, but in a way where if before I was with people, this deck makes me more feel like I am dealing with emotions or thoughts, but by myself in the nature where I come from. So it makes me feel like I am in the nature, in the forest where I grew up in. Well, I grew up obviously in a household, but I was spending a lot of my childhood in the forest and communicating with the spirits of the forest. And so every time I use this deck, it grounds me into that feeling, into that connection with the forest spirits, let's say, with Mother Nature. And it helps me work through my issues that are rooted in my root chakra. So yeah, this deck is definitely hits that spot of home, of my foundation. So this is the Wildwood Tarot, and it's absolutely gorgeous as well, and so diverse in its meanings. It's incredible. This deck is absolutely amazing. The next chakra is our Sacral chakra, which is about karmic patterns. And Sadhana says that for this specific chakra, we should choose a deck that speaks to our shadow and those life challenges that are embedded in our DNA. It represents the element of water, and our karmic patterns will come through. It actually relates to the Devil card as well, and shadow work. It is the home of the divine feminine, sexuality and creation. And I chose Tarovatara to express that energy of the sacral chakra for me. This deck is all about the struggles of Frida Kahlo and her relationship really with herself, with her sexuality, and with her relationship with her husband, who she then divorced and then married again. It really is the sacral chakra energy throughout the whole of this deck. As you can see, look at this picture, look at the Six of Cups. She was not able to have children, and because of the accident that happened to her. So she was in an accident where the bus crashed into the car, and a part of the bus entered through her and exited through her vagina and destroyed everything there, so she couldn't have children. It helps me to tap into that sacral chakra energy where I feel I can heal my wounds, my maybe traumas that are related to that, but also expression. And I feel in this world, especially as women, we are shushed and told to not be ourselves, to not cry. Men even more, to be honest, but to be good girls. And by being good girls, I feel our creativity and expression suffer. And this is connected to this chakra. So yes, this deck is absolutely magnificent for that type of work. And the next deck that to me has a similar type of energy, and you can work with your shadow and your sacral chakra energies, is the Mary L. Tarot for me. I feel whenever I work with it, some aspect of my shadow is called to be looked at and to be worked through. I know this deck could be placed in many different chakras, but for me it hits the sacral chakra spot. And it is absolutely incredible on so many different levels. I feel every time I use it, I'm forced to look at certain aspects that I might be afraid to look at, perhaps, or I've been delusioned about, I'm gonna say. So yeah, Mary L. Tarot, an absolute gem in this community, in my opinion. And let's move to the next chakra, which is the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra, Sadhana explained, is connected to self-worth. So you should choose a deck here that gives or ignites your inner strength and helps to balance your fire, so your life force, if it is overactive. This deck should help you step into your power, into your true self. It brings you into that dark space, into light. And it is connected to the element of fire. The solar plexus chakra is connected to the gut feeling as well. And for me, Tarot of the She is the deck that expresses all those qualities that I just talked about. Whenever I feel in a very dark mood, I'm gonna say, I would use this deck and it would show me where my personal power lies. Or if I'm being, if my ego is being overacted, it's also gonna show me that. And it is a very honest deck, which also, it is very true to itself, I'm gonna say, which is also an aspect of the solar plexus chakra. I know that some people might use this deck for their sacral chakra work too, which would work 100% as well. But for me, it helps me to express my true inner self, It helps me shine. It helps me tap into my strengths, I absolutely love this deck so much. It is one of my favorite decks of all time. It does include a lot of yellows. The solar plexus chakra is connected to the color yellow. The sacral chakra is connected to color orange. And the root chakra is connected to color red. I actually haven't checked which color is connected to Earth Star chakra. I'm going to write it here. So you could also use a deck that, has a lot of that color in it. Because colors speak to us on a subconscious level. At least that's how I feel about it. So yes, the next deck that connects to solar plexus chakra for me as well is Tabula Mundi. Is based on thought, or it's influenced by thought. It's thought inspired. I don't know why, but it really, in a very clean way, it always gives me that message of how to step into my personal power, how to be the best that I can be, how to use the forces of this world and beyond to be true to myself, to be real, to be honest. And I love it. And it's a very honest deck as well. And it does have a palette of all the colors, but I feel yellow in this deck also shines through very beautifully. Every time I think about this deck, yellow comes into my mind. Yellow and red actually, but yellow more. So yeah, it gives me strength when I need it, But it also puts me in my place when my ego is overactive. So yeah, Tabula Mundi. The next deck is connected to the heart chakra. Sadhana described this deck as the deck that holds that unconditional love for us. It is a deck that understands who we are. It helps us support unconditional love and gratitude in all things. It relates to devotion, deep connection, beauty, and it's related to the chakra is related to the element of air. This deck helps you feel gratitude, compassion, peace and love for all beings. And everything that is connected to the heart chakra is 100% expressed in the Herbcrafters Tarot. If you follow my channel, you know the depths of love I have for this deck. And it is the most beautiful and harmonious decks that I've ever came across. It makes me feel that love in my heart when I use it. It is about hands and how we work with our hands, and hands do relate to heart chakra and to the element of air. We also have a lot of green in this deck, which is again a color of heart chakra. It helps me open my heart every time I work with it, and it's just so beautiful. It's just looking at it makes me feel love, if that makes sense. And beauty in a different sense than just, how humanity sees beauty and beauty standards. It's beauty in nature. It's how nature is perfect and harmonious and works for and with us if we allow it to. It's just absolutely incredible, this deck. And it was the first deck that came to my mind immediately when I thought about heart chakra. I mean, if you want to learn more about this deck, please feel free to watch my series where I deep dive into each number and each court card and each major arcana card. So yeah, this was the Herbcrafter's Tarot. The other deck that makes me feel this way as well is Tarot the Witch's Garden. And it might be because it's happening in the garden, and gardens are green and beautiful, and there's a lot of nature here as well. But also it is just so beautifully painted that as well, when I look at it, it makes me feel that love, that unconditional love that is spreading from my heart to all the beings and the nature and the God. It is, very, very beautiful deck. Very harmonious as well. I feel every time I use it, it gives me such the messages that my heart needs, I'm gonna say. The messages that help me heal my heart, or help me heal the heart space, or help me open my heart even. It's there's something about the watercolor, and again, a lot of greens in this deck. So this is Tarot the Witch's Garden, and as you can see, I edged it green as well, and it has beautiful green backs. Again, relation to heart chakra. Next chakra we have is the throat chakra, and it's chakra that represents authenticity of voice. So this deck Sadhana describes as the deck that is your truth deck. So its voice is crystal clear. It connects to sounds, ears, secret, lies, truths, guilts. It is deck that helps you be honest or helps you hear the truth. It is also a deck that you fear to pull out because you know it's going to tell you exactly how it is. And it is connected to the element of ether. So for me, this deck of truth is 100% the New Era Elements Tarot. It is a deck that, like Sadhana described, you are afraid to pull out because it will tell you what you need to hear. And it is so clear. The messages are so clear. So the author chose the everyday, the modern life, let's say, situations to portray the messages, and they really are so straight on. I love this deck, and I use it often because I do like truth. I like knowing what's going on, and I'm never disappointed. Maybe sometimes I'm like, I wish it would say something else because it's something I didn't want to hear, but ultimately I needed to hear something. And see, even the crow agrees with me, and it's good for me in the long run. Look at this despair card. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it makes you think, It also makes you look at the humanity, the society. Where are we, and where could we have been if we used the resources and worked with nature in a harmonious way and not abuse it like we do. So yeah, this deck is just so truthful. It's absolutely amazing. I think it's one of the best decks ever, in my opinion. It is maybe one of the underrated decks as well. And the next one that makes me feel this way is the Vision Quest Tarot. And I was thinking to put this deck into my heart space as well because it's just also so beautiful, and people on the cards work in a harmonious relationship with nature. But because of the little white guidebook and the messages that come with this deck, I put it here because they are really, really honest, and so many times I was like, oh my gosh, they put me in check, the messages of these cards. It's absolutely incredible. And I in my other videos, I actually read from this little white book because unless you hear the messages from it, you would not understand, because it feels very gentle, welcoming and gentle, which it is, 100% it is. but it also gives you the messages you need to hear, like this one, 8 of air, interference, or 9 of fire, inner strength. It's so, wow, it's again one of my favorite decks of all time. I mean, I have so many favorite decks, but this one is 100% one of them. And I do use it in the same way that I use the New Era Elements Tarot. When I want a clear message, when I don't need sugar coating, you know, when I need truth. So yeah, this is the Vision Quest Tarot. And the last deck that I have for this category of authenticity voice is the Modern Love Tarot. It also portrays everyday situations in human society, but in relation to relationships. So this is a deck that if I want to hear the truth, the honest truth, and it has to do with relationships, so friendships, family relationships, whatever type of relationships, this deck gives it to you straight. The messages in the guidebook are written so well and so direct. They cut through all the BS. It is absolutely incredible. It is very easy to read, just to look at the pictures intuitively, or just knowing the, you know, the meanings of the cards. But I really suggest using the guidebook with this as well, because it gives another layer that is it cuts through just like this sword. It gives it to you like it is. It's really down to earth, I'm gonna say, in a way where it's not connected to root chakra, but down to earth when it brings you out of the dreamy type of, philosophical type of view on the world, and gives you things that are really going on in your life physically, you know. So yeah, I love this deck for that. Amazing. Now we are coming to the more spiritual part of our chakra system. So the next chakra is the third eye chakra, which shows us, or which represents the big picture. So Sadhana says to choose a deck that helps you view life from an ego's perspective. It is the voice of the visionary. It shows you the big picture on the muddy situations, and it helps you to not get stuck in the details of the situation. This chakra connects to all the elements. She also speaks about connection between the third eye chakra and the root chakra, and the connection to the dreams as well. So I feel this deck really represents all that. It's a very dream-like deck. Like, I feel when you look, this is the lovely Om Tarot, by the way. So if you look into the pictures, they could easily be snapshots from the dreams. But it always helps me see the wider picture, what the situation really means. And it doesn't have too many details in the paintings, which I really appreciate. I mean, they look detailed, but the meanings of each detail are explained in the book, and you usually have 4 things to look at. And I love that about the guidebook as well, that the author decided to explain what each thing on the picture means. Yeah, it's just so wonderful for that. It helps you, like the third eye should, see a bigger picture in every situation. So I absolutely love this deck so much. It could be put into, in my opinion, into the heart space as well, because it's so harmonious and well done. Very wholehearted, it speaks as whole. I don't know how to put it in words. All the elements are perfectly described here, and it doesn't seem too fiery or too watery, or if you know what I mean. It offers you an insight into everyday life situations, but from a dream world perspective. You know, sometimes when you dream something and you think, let me give an example. I dreamt about a cat. Why did I dream about a cat? And then, because I was talking to my friend about a little cat that I had when I was a child. And then maybe really it's connected to my childhood, the meaning of the dream. So it gives you that type of perspective. The art is just so beautiful as well. This is one of my favorite death cards ever. It's so beautiful. I don't know. It's not scary. It's beautiful. It feels like it's part of life, you know? things have to die to be reborn, going to the stars, but then new life is on the horizon. It's so nice. I love this deck. And then the next deck that I chose for this chakra, I think might be a surprise because it is a very detailed deck. So it's I feel choosing this deck is a bit of a paradox because it is so detailed, but to me it does offer me that higher perspective on things, and that is the Shadowscapes Tarot. This is my trimmed check version, and I love it so much because the colors are saturated and the pictures are bigger, so I can see all the details. But I feel with this deck, when I do focus on the details, like when you take that time to go into each painting and looking at those details, that truth or that thing that you haven't seen before kind of hits you. Does that make sense? It's like you're holding that question that you had for the card, you journey into the card, you look into the details, and then the message just hits you out of nowhere. At least that's how it works for me. And the details themselves give you a different perspective sometimes, because it is not very traditionally Rider-Waite-Smith, although it is at the same time, but it's also not, like, especially if you study the details. I know everyone complains about the size of this deck, and it makes sense. If it was bigger, like Oracle size, it would be easier to see all the details, but you can also get the app and then zoom in into each card, which helps. But yeah, this deck is just so good. It is so beautiful and flowy, and I think Sadhana put it into the heart chakra space, which also makes a lot of sense because it is so harmonious and beautiful. These are the two decks that I chose for my third eye chakra. The next chakra is our crown chakra, and it is the chakra that connects us to the source. And Sadhana described the deck that you choose to be a deck that helps you connect to that source. It is a deck that you choose as a portal to the divine. You feel like you're talking to God when you use this deck. This chakra doesn't have an element assigned to it because it is beyond the elements. It is a connection to beyond. And to me, the Shimmering Veil Tarot represents all that I just talked about. It is very beyond the elements to me. I feel whenever I use it, I receive message without thinking, if that makes sense. It's like I just look into the painting and the feeling and knowing just arises in me of what this card represents to me in that moment. And that's another thing. I feel each card represents different things in different moments. Obviously in the guidebook the meanings are assigned to each card, but for me I feel it can be used very well intuitively. And yeah, it's just so godlike to me. I feel the strokes, the use of color, the use of water within the color as well, because you see here's a lot of water in it and it's 10 of water, which is really cool. And this one feels a bit less. It feels more like oils. I 100% use this deck when I feel like I need to talk to divine directly, when I just need an intuitive message where I'm not going to use my logic too much, where it's just going to come to me based on what I see. So that's one of the decks that I use for that. And the other deck that I use for speaking to God is Tarot of the Spirit. And I feel this deck speaks to me like that from similar reasons. It is very artistic, and it is very, the art is very, what is the word? I'm not going to remember the word again. The art is very abstract, that's the word. And if you just follow the strokes and the colors and the shapes, specifically in this deck you have sacred geometry, and it speaks to one on the subconscious level. So I feel this deck is 100% the one that connects me to God and to divine. And I know it is actually very logically done as well at the same time, which is very interesting. But if you don't go and study the book, the messages still talk to you very intuitively if you let it do that for you. At least that's how it works for me. And at the same time, I love studying it as well. Isn't this Two of Wind just absolutely gorgeous? So beautiful. But yeah, I feel this deck combines like the logics and the knowledge, the depths of knowledge from Pamela Eakins, and then the artistic abstract part of her mother. It's another one that just connects me to divine, and I feel like I get the download of messages in my, just in my being. So this is the Row of the Spirit. And now the last chakra, the Soul Star chakra. And this is a chakra that connects us to all there is, the seat of subconsciousness. It interplays with our dream space. We and all there is merge together. We are not receiving guidance like through this crown chakra because we are not separate. So it's the deck that makes you feel like you are God. You are the conscious and the subconscious, everything all together, all at once, like that movie. Everyone, everywhere, all together, all at once. Is that what it's called? And this is the deck that makes me feel that way. I feel that I am not receiving the guidance from someone. I feel like I am that someone, and it's just the knowing that I get from this deck is just instant. And it's interesting that the sun started shining on this whilst I talk about this. And this is the Spectral World Tarot. And it's just so, it's colors, right? It's colors and shapes. There are no people in this deck, apart from the shadow of the Hanged One. And because of that, it just has this quality to it where you don't think, you just look at it. You look at the colors and you feel like you are the colors, you are the shapes, you are the movement in the cards, and you understand it instantly. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. And this deck is just so much better than I ever thought it's gonna be. I love it so much. It became one of my favorite decks, even though I got it maybe 3 weeks ago. I've been using it every day, basically. And it just speaks to me on a level that no other deck that I have in my tarot family speaks to me. There is another deck that I put into this category, and it's definitely makes me feel like I am part of, everyone and everything, and all at once. And then there's no time or space, but this one just hits differently. It's hard to describe. It is a bit more organized, I'm gonna say, than the other deck that I'm gonna show, but this color of the rainbow in every card is just perfection and harmony. Everything, all the 7 main colors are present in every single card. Yeah, it just speaks on a different level. It's so good. So this is the Spectral World Tarot, and I honestly suggest it to everyone that wants to feel that. Look at this Hermit card. Isn't this absolutely beautiful? Oh my god. This is one of the cards that made me get this deck. And the next and the last actually deck that I'm going to show today with you that I connect to the Soul Star chakra is Margarete Peterson Tarot. Similarly, like I described in the Spectral World, I feel like with this deck you are not separate from God. You are the universe, you are the divine, you are everything. You step into each card and you feel it and you know what it means. Does that make sense? Like you are this person, You are the snake, you are the death, you are the world, you are the universe, literally. And there's no borders, there's no limits. Everything merges together and you are part of that. It's so beautiful. It is just so good, this deck. I feel so grateful that I managed to discover all this deck so early in my tarot journey as well. So this is the Margarete Peterson deck. this is the last deck of today that I'm going to show you. Please check out Sadhana's original videos. I'm going to link them down below. One has the same hashtag that the one that I created. The other one has a different hashtag, but it's basically the same type of video. So the decks that you connect to the chakras. Please tell me in the comments below, you know, which decks do you connect to different chakras? Would you connect any of the decks that I showed you to different chakras, and why? Also, you know, would be great to see more people do this VR, because I think it's so interesting. And there's one more thing I wanted actually to say, that is, I feel a lot of the decks we could connect to more chakras, but maybe one chakra speaks through more, if that makes any sense. So I hope that you have a beautiful day, night, evening, morning, whatever the time is when you're watching this video. And I hope I will see you again soon. Bye bye.